Alright guys, so we are back with another video on the Chinese Super Server. Today we're going to be taking a look at Xiao Ming, the world's best Aatrox player. Probably sits at a slightly lower LP typically than Xiao Chao Meng, but I think in terms of matchup knowledge and Aatrox mechanics, I think he's going to pull slightly ahead. So let's jump into this video of him against a Kayle and see how he's going to abuse his early game advantages to take over this game. Alright, so jumping straight into the game. Like I say, it's Aatrox into Kayle. I guess there was some level 1 shenanigans, Kayle having to burn TP, but got the D shield start, and you can see the runes in the bottom left there. Taking bone plating, which is quite surprising into Kayle. If we are going for that D shield, I would have thought second wind would have been better, but I suppose pre-6 the poke is fairly infrequent. As we get these autos in. Kayle's going to hit level 2 first. As we hit level 2, I wonder if we're going to be looking for some trades now. Auto Q. Kayle's walked up a little bit too far. It's going to get chunked out. Might even die here. Hasn't got flash. Okay, so again, we could talk about that. Gets a bit vocal. So I think we said this in one of the other games, the Nasus game that was looking at Xiao Chao Meng. If your opponent is going to take something like Ghost rather than Flash, then that gives you a lot of damage agency, which I just mean you get to choose when these trades are going to happen, because Ghost is a lot more passive. So again, just taking advantage of that here. So we take the trade. Kayle probably would be okay if she had Flash. I mean, she'd still have to use it, but if she did have Flash in this position, she could maybe run upwards. But Ghost and then just walk on top of her. First blood, pretty standard stuff. So from the get-go, getting an auto and start Conqueror. Do we manage to keep that up? We do. With the Q, we get her bone plating. Again, something you can check in your games, using something like UGG or something. When you're loading in, you can see what runes they've taken. When I'm trying hard in a little bit, I tend to do that just to see if they've got bone plating. I play a lot of Riven, so I just know to sort of extend my Qs level 1 and just look to proc the bone plating before looking for longer trades. But like I said, we get the first blood. Very nice. Kayle no TP. So we may hold this. We do have a freeze. We have the TP advantage as well, so don't need to immediately recall. So I could talk about that a bit. So if you have the TP advantage and the wave's shoving into you, I know a lot of times after a kill you want to shove, get the reset and have the wave bounce back into you. But if you have got an early kill and you don't have a shit ton of gold, there is a benefit to letting the wave push in. Obviously denying the Kayle the creeps, but also there's no real pressure for you to recall and spend that gold, because at any point, as we get another nice little trade there, miss the cannon, but at any point you can recall and TP back. So we could wait for a better amount of gold for a bigger power spike. And then the other benefit of having TP advantage, you can take a equal health trade or even less favourable as we go in. We're actually going to get lane ganked by the Diana. It's quite a nice setup, but having to flash away, and we are going to go down there, but like I say, we have the TP, it's not the end of the world. But yeah, what was I saying? Having the TP advantage, yeah, look to take big trades. They don't have to be favourable for you, because you're going to be recalling coming back with full health. So like in this situation, Kayle already less health. As we get the QW, she's almost out, but not quite. It's going to get chunked for this. Might even die hit. We do manage to get a solo kill. I didn't think that would be kill range, but it just about gets caught. So pretty standard Aatrox combo. If you do land your QE, set up that W. A lot of champions don't have the move speed to escape it, and then that basically guarantees the rest of your Qs. Perfect. Auto cancels with the movement. And we get another kill. So Kayle Not having the best time. 7 CS right now. No TP, no ghost. So we're going to hard shove this wave. Not going to have 6, but I wonder if we're going to see some denial. We see Diana bot, so prevent the Kayle from getting to tower. Also proxy a wave, get a more efficient recall. As our own minions are going to take those tower plates. As I say, not letting her walk back to lane. She's playing Kayle. She can't run past without getting absolutely battered. Gonna make a beeline for it now, but we have Q coming back up. And she's dead again, still level 3. And we get the wave. We're going to get that plate as well. So again, we've seen this in quite a few of these Chinese super server videos, but if you get these early advantages, like level 6, but in this case just 5 versus 3, and you see the jungler, obviously pay attention to that. Don't just autopilot into this. Make sure it's because you know there's no threat. Don't give them the golden XP for free. Punish them even trying to walk through. Recognize that you're strong enough to do that and make the active decision to extend your lead even further. So we're going to hit 6 now, but Diana will be pathing top. Imagine we're going to look for this wave and recall. We have a decent amount of gold to spend. I wonder what build we're going to go. There's a few that you can go on Aatrox. You've got the Gore Drinker build, then Eclipse with Cerildas. Some people go in IBG. But we will see. It was still playing aggressive. Lee Sin going to path top to cover the gank. It's nice from him. But Kayle's going to struggle to get back to lane here. And what do you do if you're Kayle in this situation? She's taken the long route round. That is smart, but it's probably opening herself up for a dive. We pop the ult immediately, and it didn't even matter that Lee Sin was there. So again, that was quite well played from Kayle to go the really long way round, knowing that that's the only way there's any hope of her getting to this tower. But we spot her and just immediately W, Q2, and with the ult, taking her down once again. So absolutely dominating. I don't know about you guys, but I think Chinese Super Server really makes me think about my passiveness, because they really do show the limits of the 1v1s at least. And I'm not saying there aren't other factors to consider like jungle and things like that, but yeah, just being confident to tower dive and things like that, and taking those aggressive postures in the lane and after you've got an advantage. She sounds... Sounds upset. For being 3-1. Kayle still had 7 CS and she's just given up trying to go top at this point. I mean, Aatrox is definitely one of those champs. Has the damage to absolutely steamroll. Tower dives, definitely possible on this champ, as we've seen. But again, just showing how far you can put these champions behind. I'm sure he'd play the same against sort of a Nasus type of pick. Your Kayles, so anything that's really looking to scale. I'd be interested to see a Fiora matchup. Obviously, Fiora has a lot of outplay potential there with W. But again, focus on getting these plates. We don't care that Kayle is roaming. Especially a pre-6 Kayle, that has got to be the least threatening champ in the entire game. And we're just going to... So we're not pushing this tower super fast, like we could be taking this. We're opting to deny the Kayle the CS, or just the enemy team the CS. which is an interesting decision when you are pushing these waves in. A lot of the time you might go on autopilot and just start smacking the shit out of the tower, but sometimes it's better to relax with that a bit and let the tower pick up more waves and deny XP and gold that way. Because if we took that tower already, we would have to shove waves into this next tower, and then we're slightly more overextended, a bigger risk of getting ganked and shut down. We see Diana on the bot side in this case, but just a general rule to think about. If you are playing, you know, not a super early game champ, maybe you're playing GP and you get a crazy advantage early and you have the option to take that first tower, maybe it's better to leave that tower up and just let the minions die to the tower and extend that laning phase a little bit, because as GP you don't want to be walking all the way up here to shove waves in. Very mobile champ, even if you are ahead early game, maybe you've got an item, you're definitely still vulnerable to ganks, so just bear that in mind. And of course, the classic, take the enemy jungle camps when you can. Aatrox, not the fastest, but definitely still possible. We pull the wave over to get both at the same time. Or the little ones before they reset. We are quite low here. Probably looking to shove this and recall after taking the tower. I mean, we do have ult and flash. I don't know if he'd be that scared of Diana, but again, gonna leave the tower for now. Just denying as many creeps as possible. And we decide to shove one more. Lee Sin getting the Herald. Again, still not taking the tower. Gotta be careful not to lose the local gold for that first tower, but you know, you can pay attention to... Oh, we pop ult. Gonna be impressive if he lives this. Gonna have to flash that if he wants to, but decides it's not worth it. Dinah's gonna get the kill there. And we have gone Eclipse. Okay. So not going Gore Drinker. He definitely does build Gore Drinker from time to time. But with an advantage like this, you can push it a lot further with Eclipse. And Lucidity Boots, we even have TP, so Diana's going to get a plate or two here, but won't be able to get much more. She might actually have overstayed. Never mind. Thought there was a chance we might grab her with a Q flash. Okay, surely now we're taking the tower, right? Surely. I was going to hold it. EW, oh, Q1 just misses. That's something for me to pay attention to. I'd never open with EW and then look for the Q1. But if he hits that, guarantees the pull-in. I'm sure you guys, if you play Aatrox a lot more than me, probably a pretty standard combo, but I'm always trying to engage with like the Q1 into W. But something to think about. So we're going to crack this tower. Can't deny many of those minions anymore. This camp's just spawned. We might look for this. Flash W. Flash W she does. Proto Belt and flash away. Yeah, and when you're this far ahead, it's not their camps anymore. Especially when Kayle is God knows where. And again, we shove this wave in. And at this point in the game, you have the choice. Kayle finally makes it back top. She is ranged at least, so she might be able to pick up a few CS. And maybe survive a tower dive with the ult, but we'll see how she plays it. These Qs are cracking her though, with the Eclipse. Dinah going in. As I was saying, after you get these first towers, you have the choice. Keep pressing that advantage in the side wave. Oh, Q3 just not enough for the Yone, and he's going to get taken down here. As we move towards this dragon. So, as we pop the ult on the Diana, she's going to be tagged by the W, dragged in. Going to try and escape. But not quite. 400 gold. Kayle's finally getting access to some CS. You love to see it. But yeah. Opted to leave the top lane, try and influence the rest of the map. But of course, when you're making that decision, make sure you're still shoving your waves in. Don't get complacent and half-ass that shit, because you'll end up losing a lot of golden XP. The enemy even decides to freeze in front of their tier 2. As the Soraka manages to live there for now. But now, as she disrespects the Q3 range, Diana's here and she's going to get us again. 5 through 2, and like I say, this is the one risk if you are going to play for other parts of the map. This Kayle now getting plates, getting XP and gold. And if you let that happen too much, then she will reach that power spike where, especially after the buffs, I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I'm not saying Kayle was in a great spot. I'm not saying she is still, but her ult now, I think, is a bit mental. The fact that she can now auto for as long as she can and cast abilities while self-ulted just feels a bit unbalanced. I'm not going to lie. And again, I know she's not like the most cracked champion right now, but unless you have a shit ton of CC, it's pretty impossible to deal with her in 1v1 situations. But I'm not even saying at level 16 either. It's like level 11 with the rank 2 ult. Catches me off guard as well as playing a game as we're going to pop the ult and chase her down here. QE is going to land it. She pops the ult. Auto, waiting for the E. Again, don't panic and throw out the... A lot of people might panic here and just throw out the Q3 before your E's up, and then maybe she gets away. So have patience. Your E's on quite a low cooldown at this point. But yeah, I was playing a Kayle game earlier and I was pretty fed, but the amount of times that I'd self-ult and just be kind of running around, not remembering that I can now auto and use all of my abilities, did take me by surprise, because it's a hefty amount of time. And all it takes for the late game Kayle is like a couple autos and an E, and they're absolutely shredded. As Kayle's going to TP and don't know what she's doing at this point. Even with the Soraka, it's not going to be enough. As like I say, we've gone for the Cyrilda second. Very high damage build for Aatrox. You are a bit squishier, but again, opens up these plays like tower dives, where you can get in, get out a lot quicker. And Cyrilda's always great to help secure the W's. Pretty much the W by itself when you've got Cyrilda's is going to be enough to trap most champions for the pullback. And Kayle not getting any luck in other waves, other lanes either. So where are we going to go? He's going for it. I think he just wants to bully the Kayle at this point. Doesn't want to give her any chance of getting back into the game. Might be a bit overkill. He is going to he's going to flash Q ult, or ult flash Q. And take her again. Absolutely not worth. But he's having a bit of fun. Almost 10 CS a minute also. Gonna crash this wave, look for this tier 2. Oh, we are backing off. To be fair, the Diana has shut us down a few times. She is 8-1. Okay, so it's not completely over for the enemy team. They do have some hope as dragons coming up. Cogmore. Seen a lot more Cogmores in my games recently. Cogmores and Zeri with Rageblade and the Trinity Titanic build, which I fucking hate that build, man. Because I'm an idiot and I just never check what items they have. I just see an ADC and I'm like, I'm a 3-item Riven. I can probably one-shot you. And then I go in. They probably exhaust me as well. But even still, the mobility plus the extra tankiness always catches me off guard, but that's just me being an idiot. Go up. The shock on her, still not learning a lesson. She even pops the ult. Auto E auto. Finish her off. You can see like she's starting to get a little bit of damage. She's almost got a Nash's tooth. And it always does feel like you got to play the game like there's a ticking time bomb when you're playing against a Kayle or a Nasus or a Kassadin. They get those levels and it doesn't matter how ahead you were. Once they get there, they're going to start taking over. We clear. Again, it's interesting. He's not playing for lane. I think Xiao Chao Meng was playing for these towers. A lot of the pro players were putting a lot more emphasis on these towers. We seem to be making roams a lot more as we one-tap the Diana here. We're probably going to get a triple. Flash away from both the Soraka and the Yone, but Yone's decided to Q3 in. Oh, we whiffed that Q by a country mile, but does not matter. With the resets, the movement speed coming in. We've got Herald as well. Like I say, just pure pressure. But it is interesting, like I was saying. So, Xiaoming, in this game at least, seems like he puts a lot more emphasis on deliberately leaving lane, even though he can pull off these tower dives. Trying to assist his team. I don't know if I'd necessarily recommend that for the majority of lower elo games, especially when you can get these tower dives off so consistently with a champ like Aatrox with this build. I do think there's a massive advantage to staying in lane, pressing for tier 2 towers because they're worth so much gold. Like 600 gold, almost 1,000 if you're getting a dive off as well. And the pressure that comes with that, like you don't necessarily have to roam to other lanes to impact them. Just drawing that pressure topside. Oh, we're going in 1v3 here. Enemy's obviously just going to be running away. Can she make it over the wall? Nice Q2 there. There's a nice little Q2 to knock her back. Yone's going to try for it. It goes back to E. These Qs are ridiculous. We missed the assist. We have gone Hole Breaker here. I wonder if now we're going to put more emphasis on getting these towers. You'd hope so. Otherwise, not much point building that I am. There's Kayle's there. What level is she now? Probably like 12 or something. Press tab one more time. Jesus, my eyes cannot focus in time. As again, that's all it takes to get some of these people. Like, this doesn't have to be as big a gap as level 15 on 10, but just always going for these picks. Like, he's not switched off at all. He's ready for it. Q's in with the W, and it's just a freebie. With Cyrilda slow, like, you're never getting away from that without burning flash. Diana trying to clear the wave. He does not give a shit. Gets a bit of extra tower damage off as well. And 16 and 4. It's going to take a miracle to shut this guy down. Sitting on 3.5k as well. Again, there's that. Oh, that's a little E from Yone to deal with that. But again, the threat there, just from a QEW. He's going to get Yone ulted. Manages to get the Q3 off. I thought for a second there he might live, but didn't have the ult for the resets. And is going to get taken down. As it looks like we're going for a Aatrox last item. Don't know if the game's going to go that long. It's Kayle level 12. Unless she hits 16 off of this wave here, which doesn't seem too likely, I think this game going to be over. We've got the Kog'Maw with Milio, everyone's favourite support, giving him 10,000 attack range. Oh, Yone might actually be able to pick him up. The healing is ridiculous. And looks like the team should be able to wrap this up. So that's the game. So let's take it back real quick, just to the level 1. See where the advantage began. So using Q2 to secure the wave, just looking for this poke. Kayle manages to dodge most of it, but we're getting that passive auto off, just getting her down a little bit. Doesn't necessarily matter that we're taking sub-optimal trades or non-equal health trades, because at level 2 we know we can take those all-ins, especially when the top laner has Ghost. So that's the first thing to pay attention to. What summoners does your opponent have? If they have Ghost, obviously be aware of that. You should already be aware of that, but really focus on how you can take advantage of that with the damage agency that having a flash advantage provides. And again, Kayle just completely disrespects. Obviously, she's not got range till level 6, but... And Kayle sometimes can win a lot of these early game all-ins. Like the lethal tempo, when it stacks with her passive as well, does a lot of damage early game. So don't disrespect her too hard, but she walks up. Nice little auto before the Q. Don't panic and just throw out a Q. Get that auto in for the extra Conqueror stacks. And then from here, weaving in the autos, we get to max Conqueror stacks. And there's the flash to abuse the Ghost. And then analyze the wave state. We know we've got TP advantage in this case. Don't mindlessly shove for the reset. It's an early game. You've barely got any CS at this point. You've got 620 gold. Obviously, that's great. If you could spend it, you should. But if you have TP advantage at this stage, why not let the wave come in? Protect yourself from any ganks. Deny the Kayle XP and CS. And by staying, you're not just denying her, but you are creating a gap between the two of you. And then, like I mentioned earlier, you're now free to recall and TP when you get to an amount of gold that will give you a bigger power spike. And you can take non-perfect trades, because again, even if you're attacking the enemy and they're taking 200 damage and you take 400, if you can get that recall off and TP, obviously that's amazing, because you're going to be back on full health. So get in as much damage as you can. And again, we get a bit unlucky. That is a really nice gank from the Diana, but I don't think we're going to be seeing that too much in lower elo games. But yeah, super aggressive as always on the Chinese super server. What else was the flash over Ghost advantage? Make sure to press that. You can check out the Xiao Chao Meng Renekton versus Nasus video, where you can see a great example of that as well. then he takes first tower, but when he's against a champion that I guess he just really wants to put behind, like a Kayle, like a GP, like a Nasus, you don't have to take the tower immediately. You can just keep proxying and keep the tower alive a little bit longer. Keep it low enough to the threshold where you know that, if something crazy happens bot lane and the enemy's about to get first tower, you can take it quickly. But don't rush it. Keep denying the enemy, because like I said earlier, if you do take that first tower, you're going to have to be walking up a lot further to shove waves in, and it's just a lot of risk for not a huge reward in the first tower. And yeah, then you have the choice. He decides in this case to roam for drags and set up skirmishes in the enemy jungle, but again, I do like just keep pressuring for tier 2. It's worth 600 gold, so get that money. And yeah, I think this was an interesting game to watch, and I hope you guys learned a thing or two about how to abuse these early game advantages when you are in these sort of more favourable matchups. And I would like to cover more of Xiaoming. I'm not sure if he's been playing much else other than Aatrox, but between him and Xiao Chao Meng, probably need to find a few more people. But if there's any champions specifically that you want me to review, I can try and find some people maining those either in Korea or China. So yeah, let me know if there's anything you are interested in seeing. But other than that, thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.